Good morning. Today we are going to talk about markets, prices, and efficiency conditions. Efficient market is a perfectly competitive market. Usually markets are organized for the purpose of mutual gain from trade for both sellers and buyers. And the most efficient form is perfectly competitive market. But what do we mean by perfectly competitive market? Perfectly competitive market exists if all productive resources are privately owned, which means that there is no government intervention. Number two, products are identical to each other. Number three, producers and consumers are price takers, so no one of them can affect the price. And number four, relevant information is freely available. And finally, number five, resources are mobile, which means that resources can move from one place to another or from one industry to another. So these five conditions together represent the perfect competitive market. In the perfect competitive market, both sellers and buyers would like to maximize their own gain. So they are not going to pay money unless they are going to get the maximum benefit from this money. And the same with respect to the producers, they are not going to produce a commodity unless they expect the maximum profit from this money. Okay, it's just like any market, it has a supply side and a demand side. With respect to demand side, we are going to talk about the buyers of the commodity. As we said, they cannot control the price. So they decide to purchase or buy a product based on their marginal private benefit. Marginal private benefit is the dollar value placed on an additional unit of the good by individual consumer. As a result, in order to maximize your gain as a consumer, You are going to adjust the amount of any good consumed per month until marginal private benefit received is just equal to the price. So this is maximum satisfaction condition for the consumer, which is equivalent to marginal social benefit for the society, as there is no government intervention or any other thing else that affect the economy negatively. Later on, we are going to talk about conditions of inefficient markets. So this is the maximum satisfaction condition in case of perfect competitive market. What about the producers or the supply side? Producers would like to maximize their gain or maximize their profit based on the marginal private cost. Which is the cost incurred by sellers to make an additional unit of output available for sale. And also with respect to the producer, they are going to adjust their production until price is equivalent to marginal private cost. And with respect to the society, it will be equivalent to marginal social cost. So this is profit maximizing condition in case of market efficiency, competitive market. So in order to achieve equilibrium in these markets, we are going to equate the two equations together. So in case of competitive markets, B equals marginal private benefit equals marginal private cost equals marginal social benefit equals marginal social cost. So this is the efficiency condition in case of perfect competition. Do you think when the economy fails to achieve efficiency, the economy fails to achieve efficiency in two different cases? Number one, when there is a monopolistic power, and by monopolistic power we mean that the seller has a little bit control about the price. And in case number two, government intervention. If there is government intervention in the market, either through taxes or subsidies will cause market inefficiency. So let's start with the monopolistic power. As we said, monopolistic power means that the supply side influence the price, has some control on the price. As a result, the number of units that's going to be sold will decrease. And price will be greater than marginal cost. Generally, in case of perfect competition, profit maximizing condition will be achieved when marginal cost equal marginal revenue or price equals marginal cost. But in this case, the scenario differs, as this is the quantity and this is price, benefit, and cost. Marginal revenue curve, this is marginal revenue. And this is the demand curve, which is equivalent to marginal social benefit. And this is the marginal social cost. So if it is a perfect competition, equilibrium will be achieved at this point, which is point E. But actually we are in a monopolistic market or a monopolistic power. So equilibrium will be achieved, or the profit maximizing point will be achieved when marginal revenue equals marginal social cost. So at point A. So this is the quantity in case of monopoly, and this is the quantity that should be sold if there is no monopoly or if there is a perfect competition or a competitive market. So this is the marginal social benefit of monopoly, which is equivalent to price of monopoly. And this is the marginal social cost of monopoly. So marginal social benefit or price is greater than marginal social cost. So there is a welfare loss or loss in net benefit equivalent to the area of this triangle. Okay, once again, if you are in a competitive market, so equilibrium will be achieved when demand equals marginal social benefit equals marginal social cost. But actually we are in a monopolistic power. So in this case, the supply side will affect the price of the commodity and decrease the quantity supplied and the quantity sold in the market, so that the price would be greater than marginal social cost. So in this case, profit maximizing condition will be when marginal revenue, which is equivalent to the price, when marginal revenue equals marginal social cost. At this point, which is point A, the price will be BM at point B, and the cost will be at point A. So there is a loss in net benefit equivalent to the area of the triangle AEB. So the government can intervene in the market in this case in order to decrease prices or control prices determined by the supplier in order to achieve equilibrium or to achieve efficiency once again. Number 2, government intervention. Number A, taxes. The government imposed taxes on the producer just as a source of funds. Not as a correcting action. So taxes distorts the decision of market participants. As the government imposed taxes, the price of commodity will be affected by the amount of taxes imposed. And this is going to affect marginal social benefit and marginal social cost. Let's illustrate this graphical. This is the initial situation. This is the demand, which reflects marginal social benefit. And this is the supply curve before imposing taxes, which reflects marginal social cost and marginal private cost. And this is equilibrium point, point E, at a quantity, say for example 4. At this case, the price is 5. Now let's assume that the government is going to impose taxes on the supplier. As a result, supply is going to decrease and supply curve will shift to the left. And in this case, the supply curve reflects marginal private cost plus taxes, which is greater than marginal social cost. As a result, we have a new equilibrium point at E dash, at a quantity, say for example 3, and the price equivalent to 6. So there is a welfare loss or loss in benefit equivalent to the area of triangle E dash B. Okay, once again, the black line represents the market before imposing taxes. At this line, equilibrium is gonna be achieved at the point of intersection of demand and supply, where supply represents marginal social benefit, marginal social cost and marginal private cost, while demand represents marginal social benefit. But as the government imposed taxes, so the supplier is going to decrease quantity supplied and decrease the supply curve. So the supply curve will shift to the left, representing marginal private cost plus taxes, which is greater than marginal social cost. As a result, equilibrium quantity is going to decrease from 4 to 3, and the equilibrium price is going to increase from 5 to 6, and there is a welfare loss equivalent to the area of triangle E dash E B, as if there is no increase in taxes, this quantity can be purchased at 4, for example. What about imposing, what about giving subsidies for, which is case number B, government subsidies. The government is going to provide subsidies for poor people or for suppliers. Let's talk about it from the point of view of the suppliers. Instead of taxes, we are going to give subsidies for suppliers. Let's start with the initial situation. This is the demand, which is equivalent to marginal social benefit, and this is supply, which is equivalent to marginal social cost. And this is the quantity. And this is the equilibrium price. The government decides that the target price is 5 instead of 4. So this is the new price level. At this price level, quantity supplied is going to increase to QS. And the quantity if there is no increase in subsidies, the demand for this commodity will be at this price level will be at point C. So there is a welfare loss or loss in benefit equivalent to AEC. By the word loss in benefit, we mean that there is one party get benefit more than another. As we said, that equilibrium or efficiency will be achieved when both of them get a benefit equivalent to each other, whether with respect to the seller or to the buyer. But in this case, there is a gain or loss for one of them. Thank you. This is the end of our lecture today. See you next week.